We have fun with the two Nancy Davises.
This isn't a good shot here. You know, there was a German film crew that came over here and spent about 6 or 7 hours here, and it was just wonderful. That documentary hasn't shown yet. We're waiting for it to come. They started doing this 20 years ago with Linus when he was in Germany. They met him then, and every time he would come over, they would do some more filming. So.
When are they going to show it if it's been 20 years?
Well, we thought that they would get it finished and edited and sold to someone, to some outfit in the United States, and to be shown on his birthday, but we haven't heard. But I'm going to write to her sometime, and the woman that was the president of this outfit was here. They were just delightful. And is he doing that yet?
I'm just practicing.
This is a new one. He just got it. You're the first person that has been filmed on it. He just got this when we walked out the door on the airport, and
well, Carla has a camcorder going all the time when the kids are here. You know, we've got so much of this. Someday we'll see all of this.
Well, if you would just want to talk about you and Dr. Emmett visiting W.R. Grace, or recall where he stayed and the visits, that would be very good.
Recall what?
Where he stayed. You were talking about where you would stay on these trips, and
my mind's a blank right now.
Did you go to W.R. Grace with him?
Yes, let's see. Paul and I were married in 1976, the centennial year, and a month later we left for London for the Catalytic Congress there, and it was hot and humid when we got off the plane early in the morning. Hot and humid. And then we went on to Belgium for a spillover conference there in that quaint little city of Namur. Very interesting, very interesting.
Is it?
Our hotel was on the top of a mountain, and have you been there?
No.
Down underneath,
I'd love to go.
there was a cave where when the wars were on there. They had dug underneath there. It was just a beautiful spot to be, and we stayed there for 3 days. The food was delicious. And then he took me to Paris because I had never been there, and it poured rain all the time. It was just like I was back in Oregon. But it was a wonderful trip. And then we were home, and he'd have other places to go. He was on the go all the time. I met so many interesting and lovely people. I wish I could remember all of them now. And then in the fall, I think it was, we went to Sapporo. We spent 3 days in Honolulu on the way over. It wasn't a direct flight at that time from Portland to Tokyo. Then on to Tokyo, and then like a shuttle bus, a 747, loaded onto Sapporo, University of Hokkaido, where they had the most beautiful ceremony I have ever witnessed. The lighting effects, everything about them. And the people just loved Paul. And he had a bruise on his forehead all the time because he would forget to duck going through some doors, you know. He was so much taller than they were. But it was interesting, very interesting, clean, just as clean as could be. I've never been in a nicer place, but when we went there, it was the old airport, which was at least 25 miles out of town, but 3 or 4 of them met us, and we had someone with us all the time to translate if we had any trouble, you know. In Tokyo, it was all right, but in Sapporo, not as many of the people who were there, the hotel people and all, could speak English. But then we stayed in Tokyo, I think, 3 days before coming on home. But a couple of years before that, there was a Japanese-American Chemical Society meeting in Honolulu, and I had met so many of them there. We had a lot of fun. The women and I went around, and then we ate together quite frequently. And another time, Paul and I were there when the planes were grounded. I think it was one certain airline, and here were all these planes out on the field, and nobody could get off the island. You take a chance when you go there when there's a strike on. But it's strange. I had tried to book us on that airline, but couldn't get on, so we were booked on the Panamanian. I don't think they even have those planes anymore, the great big ones. So we got off the island to come home all right, but it was standing in line a lot, but it's nice to be there. I've been there 4 times, but that's enough. I think my traveling days are over. I'm just very comfortable now.
Yeah.
So, and Oak Ridge was very interesting, but I couldn't take the heat there. It's a different temperature from Oregon. Well, talking about temperatures, the last 3 or 4 years, it's been changing. We don't know what's going to happen. I think even the meteorologists get confused sometimes, because this is very unusual. This is August, and it's cold at night. We have overcast mornings, and then the sun will come out. It'll get up to 80 or 82 in the afternoons. The poor birds don't know what to do half the time. And about 4 months ago, we had a few warm days, and all of the flowers bloomed, the daffodils, narcissus, just pansies. The winter pansies came out. I mean, we had flowers all over, and then cold weather came, and we didn't have them anymore. Now we're getting them off and on, but Paul and I went to lots of places in the United States too, where I had never been, you know, but we flew mostly, and would rent a car or had friends there who would take us around. And but when we were at home, and Linus would be up this way, Ava, Helen, and I, Linus's wife, we learned just to have things to do. We'd go out shopping, because the 2 of them would talk across the family room, and where we lived in our home on Da Vinci there, it was about 24 feet long, and all that we heard was, you know, chemistry and physics and that sort of talk. So, then in the later years, Linus and I have been closer the last few years. I think after Paul died, I guess he was feeling sorry for me being alone, maybe not. But when he would come up, he'd phone ahead, or somebody would, his secretary or someone else, and say, "Can I stay all night with you?" He just had to ask permission. Of course, I loved having him, but getting him out to eat was another problem. He would sit in this chair. The minute he'd walk in, and at 4 o'clock he'd say, "Isn't it about cocktail time?" So he'd sit in this chair all the time, and when he was with me, and I think the only time that I got him to go out was when he brought his daughter with him, Linda, and the 2 of us together she says, "Daddy, we're going out, you're taking us out to eat." So we would go to La Casa Real here, a good Mexican place, and he loved that, and a bottle of Dos Equis beer, so we enjoyed that. So, and Linda and I, his daughter and I, are just real good pals, you know. She's wonderful to be with. We get along beautifully. So